Alright guys, so today we're going to check out the brand new Flyears 3. So let me go ahead and start with this. They're called the Flyears 3, which would lead you to believe there was a part 1 and a part 2, but I honestly couldn't find anything on the previous version. So I'm not really sure why they're called 3 or if there were any that came before these. But we are going to look at the Flyears 3, and I can tell you this is a very impressive package, all for 50 bucks. So the first thing that caught my attention is this isn't your normal pair of truly wireless earbuds where you're getting either a dynamic driver or either a dynamic driver and a balanced armature driver. You are getting two graphene dynamic drivers in each earbud. On top of that, they do have Bluetooth 5.0. They are using the Qualcomm 3020 chip, which is really good on power use. And they also have aptX, AAC, and SBC playback. Now, as far as the IP rating, this is where I think this is kind of low. It does come in rated at IPX4. So if you are somebody that goes and runs and exercises and you sweat heavily, you're going to be fine. If you get them splashed, they're going to be fine. But definitely make sure to keep them out of rain and to keep them from submerging them into water. Now, as far as what you're getting inside the box, you're getting the usual small, medium, and large silicone ear tips, which is a little odd because the Amazon page says you get 6 sets of ear tips when technically you're only getting 3. And also, sadly, the charging cable on these is a micro USB. That to me just seems prehistoric at this point, and everything should be USB-C. But speaking of the charging cable, the battery life is very decent on these, and that's because of that Qualcomm 3020 chip. On the earbuds individually, you're going to get around 6 hours of battery life, where with the charging case, you're going to get around 24 hours total. And a huge plus here is if you pick up the earbuds and they are dead, a quick 10-minute charge will get you an hour's worth of use. I always find that that comes in handy because if you just happen to forget and you're about to walk out the door, again, a quick 10-minute charge, getting an hour's worth of use is just a nice bonus. Now moving over to looking at the case. The case itself is very, very solid. It has some really good weight to it. On the back, you can see that dreaded micro USB input. And then around on the front, you can see 4 indicator lights. And that's just to give you an idea of how much battery life is left on the case. Now, when you open up the lid, which is kind of see-through, that's where you start to see the earbuds. Now, they have a very unique design, although not completely unique, because I have actually seen a similar design in a previous model. And what it does is it gives you that ability to see the dual drivers inside the earbuds themselves, and it looks like little eyes on a bug. But either way, it's very cool to be able to see that. I like the design of these. And at first when I looked at them, I thought that this might have a little issue sitting in my ear the way that it's designed. But these are extremely comfortable, and I had no issues with wearing these for long periods of time. Now, when it comes to the controls of these utilize button controls. And I'm happy to say that the controls control everything. So you have play, pause, skipping your tracks forward, going backwards, and even volume control, which again, a lot of companies seem to drop the ball on, but luckily these didn't. Now, when it comes down to using these individually, you'll be happy to know that you can use either the left or the right. And then for you guys that like to use the mics for taking calls, you'll be happy to know that these also use the CVC technology, which is focusing in on your voice and trying to block out a lot of your surroundings. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. Alright guys, so here is the mic test using the Flyears 3. Overall, I think it's doing a very good job of picking up my voice. I do sense that there's a little bit of depth. It doesn't feel as clear as some of the others, but for taking phone calls, this will more than do the job. And so now here is a mic test with a crowd noise being played in the background, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's move over to the sound, because above all, even though it has some pretty impressive features, the sound is the most important thing, at least to me, when I'm buying a pair of truly wireless earbuds. And these do not disappoint. They have a very dynamic sound. It's a slightly warmer tone overall, which means you're getting a very nice punchy bass. The bass does not become overwhelming. It doesn't take over. It doesn't muddy up the sound. It just has a really nice presence, and it has plenty of of kick. Now when it comes to the mids are nice and forward. I would have liked to have seen a slight little boost when it comes to the mids, just because the bass is as dynamic as it is, and the treble also is very dynamic and detailed as well. And you just hear a lot of little subtle things. There's a lot of clarity, but it just feels like at times you want to boost the mids a little bit so that the vocals don't get lost in all of this dynamic range going on around it. So now when it comes to the soundstage and the sound imaging, that is also done very well in these. The soundstage feels very open. It feels like you're in a much larger room than some of the other earbuds that I've tried, but the instrument details and the instrument depth that you're getting while listening to music, now it could be metal, hip hop, pop, classical, just easy. It doesn't even matter. Whatever you're listening to, it just does a very good job to make sure that those instruments don't sound cluttered. It doesn't sound congested or muddy. They definitely have their space. The only thing, again, I feel like I would like the vocalist to come a little bit more forward, especially in genres where there's a lot going on. Now, it definitely doesn't feel like the artist is getting lost. I just noticed because the bass and the treble is so dynamic, the mids sometimes just feel like they need to step a little bit more forward. But overall, for $50, this is an absolute no-brainer because of the features that you're getting, and this is some of the best sound that you're going to get, let alone out of a $50 pair. This could have easily been a $100 pair, and I would still highly recommend these. But guys, that's my video on the Flyears 3. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.